Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel where today we are going to hopefully be finishing the introduction to C# or learn C# module in Codecademy. We have done a ton of stuff within the actual chapters, and so we are finishing up this lists and LINQ chapter. I have no idea if they call it LINQ or whatever, but I'm going to call it LINQ. In the previous chapter, we talked, or not previous chapter, but previous video, we talked about lists. So if you ended up missing that, be sure to check it out because it is going to relate to what we are doing today. But let's just jump right into it. Hopefully we can finish this all in one video. It says about an hour and 24 minutes left, but typically we've been going a little bit faster than that. So we shall see what happens. Okay, introduction to LINQ. Imagine you're building a new game in C# with dozens of characters to manage in your database. How would you access them all? What if you need to apply a filter? What if you need to format each character name? You might think of storing characters in a list and running through each element with a for each loop. You'd have to write a nested if statement, reformat each element, and store each result in a new list. The result isn't pretty. Suppose that we want to find all the names in a list which are longer than 6 letters and return them in all uppercase letters. You can see what it looked like in Program CS in the code editor. And we got some Overwatch names here if you're familiar with the game. But this is the code that without Linux or LINQ, it would do this. And with it, it looks a little bit something like this. Imagine LINQ like an add-on to C# and .NET. Once you import the LINQ features, you can write new syntax like this, and you can use new methods on collections like where. So it looks like up here we used using system.linq. How to import LINQ features to C#, how to run LINQ queries and datasets, how to identify method and query syntax, and basic operators such as select, where, and from. So in program.cs, compare the two approaches for querying data. Without LINQ, we use a for each loop and a nested if statement. With LINQ, we write a 3-line query. Run the code to see them in action. Your long, loud heroes are Soldier 76 and Reinhardt. Importing LINQ. You know what? I probably should just see... is there a pronunciation to LINQ? LINQ is what it is. Okay, we're going to pronounce it LINQ from now on. Before we jump into the syntax and method, let's import our features. To use LINQ in a file, add this to the top using system.linq. Oftentimes we use LINQ with generic collection lists like lists. You may see both namespaces imported to a file using systems.collections.generic and using systems.linq. This code is throwing errors. Run the code to see the error details, and you should have an error message like error CS0246, the type or namespace list could not be found. Are you missing or using a directive or assembly reference? Or error CS1935, and you could read that. Looks like we get the first one here. And so in my opinion, we're probably going to have to add in, we're going to have to be add to the top using system.collections.generic. And we're going to also add using system. I believe it was LINQ. Yeah. Perfect. Your short heroes are Diva, Lucio, Mercy, and Farah. var. Every LINQ query returns either a single value or an object of type IEnumerable T. For now, all you need to know that the second type is that it works with for each loops, just like arrays and lists, and you can check its length with count. Since the value type and or the parameter type T is not always known, it's common to store a query return value in the variable of type var. Var is just implicitly typed variable. We let the C# compiler determine the actual type for us. Here's one example. So we have a string array here with a couple of names in it, and we use the var kind of syntax, short names, and then we use names where n is less than or equal to n.length is less than 4. In this case, short names are actually a type of enumerable strings, but we don't need to worry ourselves as long as we have var. Let's practice using var with LINQ. Create a variable of type var named short heroes and set it equal to this LINQ query. So we'll do that. Give ourselves a little bit of space here. So we'll do a var variable named short heroes and set it equal to from h in heroes where h.length is less than 8, select h. Baby. Line 13. Maybe it wants us to add some, maybe did a couple misspell jobs here. Perchance. Okay, so something's not going quite right here. Let's take a peek under the hood here and see what I'm missing. Well, that was fun. All right, let's use now a for each loop to print out each element in short heroes. So for each var hero in short heroes, we'll do a console.writeLine hero. Create another variable of type var named long heroes and set it equal to this LINQ query. Let's go down here. Another var called long heroes. And set it equal to heroes.where n dot length is greater than 8. Use count to print the number of elements in long heroes. Print the number of elements in long heroes. Console.writeLine long heroes dot count. Perfect, so 2. Method and query syntax. In LINQ, you can write queries in 2 ways, a query syntax and a method syntax. Query syntax looks like a multi-line sentence. If you've used SQL, which I have, you may see some similarities. Method syntax looks like plain old C#. We make method calls on the collection we are querying. So it looks like plain old syntax. In LINQ, we see where/where and select/select show up as both keywords and method calls. To cover both cases, they're generally called operators. Every developer has a personal preference between syntaxes, but you should be able to read both. In this lesson, we'll start with query syntax and then move on to method syntax. Read the 2 queries in program.cs. Each one returns a sequence of phrases, one for each hero that contains an A. Run the code to see the output. The queries return the same output, but they're written with different syntax, which seems easier to read to you. So, in my opinion, query syntax is really easy. SQL is extremely simple to read, but method syntax also looks somewhat simple. Where these dot is equal to hero dot where contains A, select X. I definitely like, you know, this a little bit more, but obviously personal preference. Basic query syntax. A basic LINQ query in query syntax has 3 parts. The from operator declares a variable to iterate through the sequence. In this case, H is used to iterate through heroes. The where operator picks elements from the sequence if they satisfy the given condition. The condition is normally written like the conditional expression you would find in an if statement. In this case, the condition is h.length is less than 8. The select operator determines what is returned for each element in the sequence. In this case, it's just the element itself. The from and select operators are required. Where is optional. In the next example, select is used to make a new string starting with hero for each element. Each element in hero titles would look like hero, diva, hero, Lucio, etc. Write a from where select query that selects all of the elements in heroes that contain the character I. Store the result in a variable named heroes with I. So, we'll call it heroes with I is equal to, and then we'll select from heroes, or from hero and heroes. Why is it doing that? Select. We're going to want to select. We want it to print out. We're just going to select hero. Where. That's actually from where select. So select is the end. Where, and it wants hero dot, and it would be the contains, right? So we should have an operator called maybe contains, I. That's correct. Next, we'll write a from select query that returns the same array as heroes, but every space is replaced with an underscore. Return the result variable in a variable name underscored. Var underscored is equal to from hero and heroes. What's the replace function? Yeah, replace. Select hero dot replace with underscore. Perfect. And if we printed that out, that would look nice as well. Oh my gosh. Basic syntax method. Oh my gosh. Wow. Basic method syntax dot where. Holy crap, guys. What's going on? In method syntax, each query operator is written as a regular method call. In the last exercise, we selected every element with a length under 8. Here it is in method syntax. So we have a string, an array of type strings called heroes. We have all of them listed. Then we have var short heroes equals heroes.where, h, we have that squid operator, h.length less than 8. The where operator is written as the method where, which takes the lambda expression as an argument. Remember that lambda expressions are a quick way to write a method. In this case, the method returns true if h is less than 8 characters long. Where calls this lambda expression for every element in heroes. If it returns true, then the element is added to the resulting collection. For example, the short heroes sequence from above would be Diva, Lucio, Mercia, and Farah. Write a method syntax query that selects all the elements in heroes containing the character I. Store the result in a variable named heroes with I. So we're going to do the lambda expression. We're going to have the heroes with I. Set it equal to heroes dot where h, that lambda expression, h dot contains the letter I. Does that work? Yes. Print all the print all the elements in heroes with I. For each, hopefully I'm doing this right. For each var hero in heroes with I. Console.writeLine hero. Lucio, Soldier, Reinhardt. Perfect. Basic method syntax, select. To transform each element in a sequence, like writing them in uppercase, we can use the select operator. In method syntax is written as the method select, which takes the lambda expression. We can combine select with where in two ways. Use separate statements, right? Or chain expressions. As with most length, the choice is up to you. In the first option, we use two variables and two statements. You can tell that they are two separate statements by counting the semicolons. In the second option, we use one variable name and one statement. If we must use method syntax, we prefer the second option, chaining, because it's easier to read and write. You can imagine each line like a step in a conveyor belt, filtering and transforming the sequence as it goes. Write a method syntax query that selects all the elements in heroes containing the character C and then transforms them to lowercase. Use separate statements and then store the final result in lowercase heroes with C. So it first wants me to do the separate statements. So we'll do that by creating a variable called, we'll start with one that's just called heroes with C is equal to the selection of where, and we'll do, oh, no, what am I doing? It's heroes dot where, of course, with the hero, or we can just do this syntax where then we do h dot contains the letter C and then we do var hero, or wants us to use the variable heroes with C is equal to heroes dot select h h dot to upper perfect. Now we're going to do the second query, but use train expressions. Store the result in a variable named same result. Same result is equal to heroes, and it wants me to do this very interesting syntax where we do heroes and then dot where, and then we do this h equal, or the lambda expression h dot contains the letter C. And it looks like we don't do multiple things, so we just do dot select h where h dot to upper. To upper is going to want to have a thing right there. This is interesting that this works like that. Print all the elements in same results to check your work. For each loop, variable hero in heroes, or in same result actually. Console dot write line. The variable hero. I gotta stop looking down at the keyboard, guys. I'm getting in my bed.
Elements assume she should be printed to the console. Oh, it's to lower, actually. It's not to upper. To lower. What am I doing, guys? To lower. It actually says, you know, containing the lowercase right there. So did to upper, should have done to lower. When to use each syntax. So far, you've seen the query syntax and 2 flavors of method syntax. As you get more advanced into LINQ queries and learn new operators, feel free to get works for each situation. For now, we generally use the rules. For single operator queries, use method syntax. For everything else, use query syntax. Write a method syntax query that transforms the element in heroes to this format. Okay. Using methods. So with method, we would do something like variable intro heroes is equal to select h. Or what am I doing here? I keep forgetting heroes dot select h goes into the string interpolation introducing dot dot dot. Actually, it looks like it's not spaced out. Dot dot dot. H. Hope that works. Yep. Write a query syntax that selects the elements containing a space and returns the index of the space of each element. For example, instead of diva, the result should contain 2. Okay, so we'll do that by doing variable space index is equal to from hero in heroes where hero dot contains space select hero dot index of space is that it? Doesn't feel right, but it might be. Yeah, okay. Contextual would var may only appear within vocal and script code. Line 17. So here, let's get a hint here, see if that helps. Since there's multiple operator where it's like when writing your query, this contains and index of. So I did that. Let's take a peek under the hood here, see what I'm kind of getting wrong. Obviously my spacing is a little bit different in the actual method. So method syntax, query syntax, variables from H in heroes contains space. Huh. I have something that looks very similar. My first one is absolutely correct, which looks amazing. Variable results from hero in heroes, hero.contains space, select hero.index of space. I'm a little confused on what I'm getting wrong here. I don't think I see it. From H, they just have from H in heroes. Let's keep my code and see if it says elements containing. What is this error asking? Let's see if this is ever useful. See, this is why I never use this tool, because it looks like you're having a syntax error in your code. The issue is that var spacing is placed outside of any method block. Oh, is it outside of main? Yeah, it's outside of main. That's why. That actually was helpful. Oh my gosh. I was going to say. So let's actually open up main. Oop. There we go. That was actually a really helpful little tooltip there. It showed that it was outside of main. Now it's good. Print out the elements of both query results to check your work. So we'll write 2 for each loops. So for the first one, for each var hero in heroes, console, or not heroes, intro heroes, console dot write line hero, and then our second for each loop, var hero in space index, console dot write line, and it probably shouldn't be hero, it would probably be index, so variable index, but it's going to do the same thing that we want it to do anyways. Introducing Diva, Lucio, Mercy, there we go. LINQ with other collections. You've mostly seen LINQ used with arrays, but it can use blist as well. The syntax is the same. Is equal to new string list, variable loudhouses from H and heroes list. It's literally the exact same. So technically LINQ can be used for any type that supports for each loop, so we won't cover all of those here. Query heroes list to find all hero names that either contain a dot or a 7, a period, or the number 7. So we'll do that. We'll put it in a variable called heroes with 7 or dot. We'll keep the camel case going. Is equal to, and I could do either one. It doesn't actually ask me which one I would like to do, query or method. I'm going to do query because it makes a little bit more sense for me. So from hero in heroes list, we will where we'll write these out first, right? Where hero dot contains the dot, and I also want to do or hero dot contains 7. Select hero. I'm not 100% sure about this. We'll see if that works. Use where to select. So it wants me to use the other condition. Maybe we could try it. Why not? Where we'll do heroes list dot where, and then we'll do h equals h dot contains dot So we'll do this first. We can do it in 2 lines because I'm not actually 100% sure how to do it in multiple lines here, or in just one line. Heroes with 7 or dot equal to heroes with 7 dot where h dot contains dot. So it does want me to use that. I got it wrong in the other one, but of course, or h dot contains
Perfect. Store the query variable in a variable of type var and use a for each loop to print out. So now we'll do a for each loop, and we'll do variable hero in heroes, and I'm gonna call it or dot and heroes with 7 or dot. Open that up. Do a console dot. Oh my god, right. I'm not looking down anymore, guys. I've made it a point not to. I'll just have to use my actual fingers to figure out how to type. Diva and Silver 76. Cool. Let's review. Great job. We've covered a lot of LINQ. Here's a recap. I'm not going to read all that, you guys. There are a few bugs in the code. Fix each one before moving on. We've got a list here. Looks good, to be honest. The list, at least, from H in heroes list, where H dot contains A. Select H dot contains. Perhaps because we're saying it as a string array. We just do variable instead. $14. We're not found. Are we missing? So we need to actually reference using system.LINQ. That was not put at the top. Now we're at line 20, and oh, come on, don't open that up. Cannot convert method group count to non-delegate type objects. Printing console.writeLine query result has query result dot count. Console.writeLine query result contains A. Select H contains an A. Cannot convert method group count to non-delegate type object. Did you intend to invoke the method? Correct namespaces using count for lists and count for query results. Oh, that was it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, we just had to throw on that. Up next, the list and LINQ quiz. Use object initialization to constructor lists containing the characters A, B, and C. So it's going to be this at the end, right? List, char, check answer. We got it. Fill in the query so that it returns every element in Savannah in uppercase. Var result equals Savannah dot select. What is LINQ? The where and select methods, the list and types of a set of languages framework for like that one. All will be printed to the console. So we have a list here. It's a new list, adding the integer 5 and the integer 3. And then we're doing a console.writeLine remove 3. True? Yeah. Which of these data types is a generic collection? List T. Print giraffe to the console. So we have an empty list, then we added lion, rhino, giraffe. So giraffe should be at the end of the list, which is at position 2. Got it. Why do we store the result of a LINQ query in the variable of type var? Var is returned by LINQ queries. The return type does not exist. The return type is not always known, right? LINQ queries return either a single value or a generic type I enumerable, but the actual type is not always easy to determine. Use query syntax so that small animals and small animals too have the same values. So query syntax. So we're doing from X in Savannah where X.length is select, right? Perfect. How many elements does the Savannah list contain? List string Savannah new list. So a new list, we're adding cheetah. Then we'll add a range. So how many elements does it have? 4 elements. Yeah. we end up adding a multiple to the end there. What will be printed to the console? List int is a new list of integers. Right now has 2, contains 3, false, right? Returns false because 3 does not exist in the list. Instantiate a list that contains char objects. So we'll do this is equal to new list with char objects, right? What value will be printed to the console? List dogs new list, right? And then we do a count, should be 0, right? Yeah, no items in the list. Which namespaces should be added so that references to list t and where don't cause errors? Which namespaces should be added? So first generic one, right? And then we're using the LINQ, so we should have system.collections.generic and then system.link, right? Print the number of elements in numbers and triplets. So console.writeLine where we do, oh, this is interesting. Now this is interesting. I think it's like this. Poggy. All right, very nice. Let's continue learning. Programming languages. It looks like we have a bit of a project here, guys, on our hands. So, programming languages. Do you know that when C# was invented? Do you know when C# was invented? How about your other favorite programming languages like JavaScript, Ruby, and R? R is not anybody's favorite programming language. I'm just going to say that out loud. In this project, we'll be using lists and LINQ to search database for answers. And the data is stored in a TSV file, which stands for tab separated list. It's a common way to store and export data from a spreadsheet or database. You may see this file type when you try to download data from apps like Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets. Here is what the data would look like in a table, just a few random rows included. In program.cs, the data importing is already taken care of, so you can focus on the queries. The data is stored in languages, which is a list of type list language. You can find the definition for language in language.cs. Here are the class important members. So there's a class called language.cs that has all this information in it. Let's get started. So it looks like there are 12 parts to it. So let's get started by printing out off all the languages. Print each item in language by calling its prettify method. So in main, we'll do languages.prettify. See what happens. Am I spelling it wrong? Prettify. I should prefer no list of language can be found. Okay. List of languages, file.readlines. Okay. Let's do this maybe. Somehow I'm still messing it up. No? Does it need an argument? Does not. Huh. Use a for each loop that iterates for each variable in languages. Oh. Okay. For each var language in languages. Guess I can't use the prettify function on a list. You have to go through each variable. Doesn't print it out though. It wants me to do that myself, so. Holy shit. Okay. Write a query that returns a string for each language to include the year, name, and chief developer of each language. Print out 1 to the console. Write a query that returns a string for each language.
Select operator and allow the expression string and right through the, yeah, I mean, okay, it's just going to put a lot of shit into the console here. So we'll do variable string for each language. We'll do languages dot select, and we'll do the string interpolation. Year, name, chief developer. So L dot walking a plane at LA. Oh. It does, though. It's because I'm spelling chief wrong. I before E. Come on, man. That's too easy. And then we want to print each. So for each variable stringy and string for each language. Console.write line stringy. It was created in 2009 by Google, but cool. When was C# first released? Find languages with the name C#. Use the prettify method to print the results to the console. Note, as you add more of these Linux queries, your console output might get too long to read. We suggest you comment out the print statements of the previous query before entering the next one. So I will do that. What about C#? There we go. C# was created. What about C++? Is that a little bit older? 1995 was JavaScript. Where's C++? Ah! Oh. Where'd it go? Oh. By C++. Okay. When was C# first released? Find the language with the name C#. Use the prettify method to print results. Yeah, so we'll do a query, right? So we'll do a variable when C. Can we do a character like that? No. When C# is equal to where language. I was saying I was not going to look down, but this is the hardest part. These little things right there. L dot name string C#.
name C# using use the prettify method to print the results to the console. For each, and it wants me to comment these out. For each variable lang in when C#, wants me to lang dot prettify to the console. The name where does not exist in the current context. Oh, what the hell am I doing? What the heck am I doing? Languages. Holy moly, guys. It's getting late. We're getting late out here. There it is. Cool. Find all languages which have Microsoft included in their cheap developer property. Microsoft developed is equal to languages dot where L lambda, oh my god, that's the one thing I'll look down for, is the equal sign, and then I don't even look and actually see what it is. I just, for some reason, have to look down at my fucking hands. L dot chief developer dot contains Microsoft for what is up? Why am I singing today? Come on, guys. In micro, we can't tab it out. Developed. Find all the languages. We'll do a console.writeLine lang.title. Let's see what happens. I should have. I know accessible method title is accepting the first line. Assembly reference. Name, not title. See the Hollywood sign? Cool. Very nice. Good programmer's copy. A few early languages laid the foundation for many of the advanced languages used now. One of those languages is Lisp, which looks like this. Here's a comment. Print hello world, +34, let x29. Find all languages that descend from Lisp. Predecessors. Okay. We'll do used Lisp, and we'll say where gosh, we've got to do this. Languages dot where L come on, lambda, yeah, I almost got it. Lambda expression L dot predecessors. So I'm spelling it right. I'll do this. I'm not the best wordsmith, I know. So dot contains the word Lisp, right? All right, Lisp. We'll comment out this for each loop. For each varlang in used Lisp console.writeLine lang.title, or name is what we're using, right? Cool. Very nice. Programmers really like to call their languages scripts. Find all the language names that contain the word script, capital S. Make sure that the query only selects the name of each language. Find all languages that contain the word script. Language names. So again, I'm just going to comment that out. And then do a variable contains script equal to languages dot where l dot name dot contains script for each variable lang in contains script I've just been doing lang dot Apple script, Newton script, Live script, JavaScript, VBS script, MES script, F script, Action script, Unreal script, GDS script, Coffee script. How many languages are why does it say Y2K? How many languages are included in language list? Again, do this. Languages. I hope nobody heard that. Probably did, because shit, that shit is schmealer. That's how you know. 119. How many languages were created? Between 1995 and we'll continue our use of camel case, and 2005 is equal to languages dot where L is L dot year is greater than and equal to or is want it greater than or equal to 1995 double ampersand that's the dollar sign, come on, and L dot year is less than or equal to 2005 for each variable L in between 1995 and 2005 console dot L dot name good amount. Print a string for each of those near millennium ages in your query, add a select option. Print a string for each of those. For each of these elements, so we're just changing what's inside this console.writeLine. Add a select operation. So it wants me to do a different way of doing it, but I'm just going to do it this way. It wants me to do string interpolation where it says L.name was invented in common L.year. This works just as nicely. And it's going to go from 1995 all the way to 2005. Perfect. Print methods. You might have used a for each loop to print every method in this project. Write a method pretty all that handles this for us. It should return nothing except an argument. What is pretty print? So if we go to language, we can go down here. Public void method called print pretty print all that accepts one enumerable language languages method prints every object in the argument. Object in the argument within the loop, it should print each element to the console. So just print each for each var L in languages. Do I have it spelled incorrectly? Oh, that's why. Needs to be static. I'll replace that, but then add a static. Turn it for each loop that goes for every argument. Enumerable. I'm in a main and a X dream in a cardigan. We don't do this in language. Oh. Well, it would have to be in languages. Otherwise, why would it be? Might you've used for the print every result. There's a project walkthrough here. Gonna get help from my buddy here. Task 10, let's see what he ends up doing. So he goes into languages and creates a public static void pretty print all enumerable language langs for each language lang in langs console.write line lang.prettify. Let's see if it didn't tell us. It doesn't look like we can use this. At this point, I don't know exactly what to do, but because Carlos doesn't look like it's an error from this. Yeah, he just uses IEnumerable languages links. At this point, it's fine. We went through pretty much everything in this project and did pretty well at it. So I am going to click next and exit the survey. Guys, we did it. We finished the C#, learn C#. We did a bunch of different stuff. Let's take a peek, maybe a hint here, but what is next from the Codecademy team? There's a bunch of different stuff that we can do here, like projects, some forums, and I believe there's likely a basically a thing where we can go, if I just do C#, I assume that we have learned C, or not learned C++, but learn C. Free course complete. I know there's got to be another course, right? There's a lot of C. Oh, beginner friendly. We already learned it. So yeah, I mean, we did basically all the stuff for C#. If we go to my home here, there might be something, but we just finished this one. Guys, look at this. Our weekly target. I will say, today is Tuesday, so don't hate. Anyways, we can look into it later, but that's going to be it for today's course. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully you enjoyed the journey here. If you did like, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and also comment down below anything you have to say. I've been Ethan. Thank you very much. Peace out.